a little Hawaii, well, not a little, because we always have a lot to say, a Hawaii Q&A. We're currently on the road, ready to start a day, and we thought that we would film this Q&A for you guys because there's a lot of unanswered questions that we did not get to touch base on our vlogs. So we decided to make a separate video because, as you guys saw, the first vlog was like 50 minutes and the one that we recently uploaded was literally an hour. So we did not want to fill a Q&A into those vlogs because it would just be way too long. So we decided to make a separate video, and that's what we're doing today. If you're new to this channel, make sure to hit that red button right there below, which is the subscribe button. Hit that bell button to get notified every time we post a new video. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up for Hawaii. So unfortunately, this is our last Hawaii video. Maybe one day we'll just be back. Maybe next year we'll go back to Maui, right? Yeah, we're definitely making plans because it was magical. That's it. One word, magical.
Actually made a poll on Instagram because we had gotten so many DMs, mostly her. I got some, but she got a lot of DMs with a lot of questions while we were there. And with the time difference and everything we were doing, we really didn't have time to like sit down and like really write back to everybody and say everything in depth, like because we were just so busy and it was a lot. So we made a poll and we like asked people to ask us anything they have, and we got like, I don't know, like 20 questions.
Yeah, we got like 20 to 25 from the ones that I could like put together.
A lot of them were kind of the same, so we're not gonna answer the same thing twice.
Yeah, so that's why I gathered like 15 of like different questions because I got a lot. So question number 1, can you please talk about Hawaii prices? I heard on the radio today that car rentals were over $700 because of the shortage of cars. So
yeah, it's a major thing right now, especially if you're planning on going right now.
Yeah, so in part 1 of our vlog, make sure to go watch it if you didn't, because you're gonna be confused. We talk about reserving a Jeep, and we ended up getting a Kia.
Mind you, we reserved it at least 3 weeks before.
Yeah, it was literally a month, and they did not give us the Jeep because they didn't have any Jeeps. Like they said, they didn't have Jeeps for the last 3 weeks, which is crazy because, you know, we reserved, we call, and they're like, yeah, we have tons of Jeeps available. So one, customer service is not the best in Hawaii when it comes to car rentals.
The car rental service places are not the best. I mean, they'll do their best to give you whatever car they have available, but there wasn't a lot of options for us.
Every car company that we spoke on the phone with, they were not the best.
They wouldn't even answer. If you got lucky enough for them to transfer you to the direct office.
All the reviews for all the car companies, they all had the same thing to say. Horrible customer service.
Like 2-star, 3-star. Like there's not like an Enterprise out there that had like 6 stars like usual. When we always use Enterprise because we love it. It's like everything is always, there's no hidden fees. Everything is just up front. But like there was no such thing as like 5-star over there. Like when it came to car companies. And
they all said the same thing, like, oh, make sure to call, shortage of cars. And the only cars that they had available were those big Toyota vans, like family vans. Obviously we were not going to rent.
No, it was pickup trucks.
Oh, pickup trucks
and vans.
Yeah, she knew more about that because she was in charge of the car rental, but I saw like the struggle and we read the reviews together. So we're like, we knew what we were getting ourselves into, but at the end of the day we're like, we need to make something happen because we need a car for the places we wanted to go. So a tip that we did, since a lot of places just require like a card, like for you to put a card on file, we did reserve with three car companies.
We were on purpose, but we made our reservation. We found out like 2 weeks later that there was a huge shortage. Like we're constantly like looking at the news and everything because of like how things are happening with the coronavirus and all of that. Like after we had reserved our car, we had actually read on the Hawaii news.
We're always up to date with their news because you never know.
Yeah, I see on the news that there's a huge rental car shortage in Hawaii, and specifically in Waikiki, because everybody goes to Waikiki. So we're like, oh my gosh, we need a call. We need to find out if we're gonna actually be able to get that car, because without a car, it would have been a struggle in Waikiki to get around. I called. It took like 2 hours to finally get me through, and they were like, yeah, you know, don't worry, like your car is guaranteed. And like when you book a car online, you don't always pay it before you get there. Like they just reserve it, they put it on your card, and like they can't really guarantee that that's the car you're gonna get regardless. But you know, we were kind of keeping our hopes up. We're like, you know, they said that it's gonna be fine, that for the week that we were going, since we had booked it already, we'll be fine. Next thing you know, we get there and they're like, okay, well, we have no Jeeps.
We haven't had Jeeps for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So in that like sense, just be prepared. Reserve multiple car companies if you can, if they're even available in Hawaii, because the car rental situation in Hawaii was really a struggle, and that's basically the only problem.
When you rent a car, you don't really, you put your card down, but they don't charge you until you actually pick it up that day. So it's not like we were paying for 3 cars. If you are planning on going and you want to be safe, reserve at least with 2 or 3 other car companies. We reserved with Hertz, which they were pretty good. They have really bad reviews.
They were okay.
They were nice to me.
Out of Dollar and all the other car companies. That was a long answer, but basically,
if you want to be safe, there's a huge car shortage. You should reserve with multiple car companies just to be safe.
Do not rent your car 2 days before your trip. You won't have a car.
Yeah, you won't have a car.
Period.
Even if they tell you that your car is guaranteed, if you're renting it a couple days before, you're not gonna be able to get a car.
Yes. Question number 2. Was Hawaii everything you thought it was? I don't want to be disappointed. So, Hawaii was more than expected.
Hawaii was way more.
More than expected. When you think of Hawaii, you think of island, you think of luau's.
It's basically everything you imagine.
Yes.
Except when you get there, it's like,
it's
wow,
in your face.
this
like
exists.
This is reality. Like, this is what Hawaii is. Magical island, clear turquoise water, crystal clear sand,
a lot of people are so nice,
sweet people, respectful people,
and like
amazing.
when you're driving on the highway, it's not like you're looking at buildings and things like that.
Regular ugly trees that we have here in New York.
Like, you're looking at mountains that you don't even think exist.
Like sky high mountains.
I was like screaming every time. Every time we would get it, like get on the highway, it would be screaming.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my god!
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, this is so beautiful. Oh my god, I feel like we're in a movie. I mean, because you can't believe it. Like, and it's like not even being exaggerated or not even like to be cocky about it, but it's just like, I never knew something that beautiful.
Yes. And in the COVID situation, was it like what we thought it was because of COVID? We don't know how it was before COVID, but if anything, it's better.
It was great.
No, but it was even better now with COVID, because everything has a capacity limit, so not everything is so packed.
And when you do want to go somewhere like to excursion and things like that, you have to show your QR code. The QR code is what lets you know that you had a negative test, so that makes you feel safe about the place that you're going. If everybody has to show their QR code, that means everybody, at least has had a negative COVID test.
It's a peace of mind knowing that everybody around you entered and they're negative. Question number 3. How far along did you get the flight? So we're a couple that we are early planners, which we love to plan. So when we have an idea of going somewhere, we start thinking about it. Are we sure? Is that the place to go? We start looking at prices, we start looking at dates, because we do have a full-time job. When can we take off? So there's a lot of aspects. It doesn't just come up like, oh, you want to go to Miami this weekend? Sure. Like, you have to
and it would never
plan.
be Miami anyway.
Okay. It's a good example.
Yeah, and I'll be like, no.
Yeah, she'd rather not. Like,
I'd rather not go anywhere than to go to Miami.
For example, in January, since last year, unfortunately, we didn't make it to where we wanted to go for Jay's birthday out of the country. I told her we have to make it up for last year. Where do you want to go? And I told her, like, let's be real. Give me places we can go. She told me India. She told me Africa. That's not being real.
I mean, that's being hopeful.
So, with COVID, everything up in the air, like back in January, cases were rising because of the holidays. We're like, you know what, let's stay safe and let's stay in the United States. Just in case there's another lockdown, we don't want to be stuck out of the country. At least if we're in the US, we got to go back home no matter what. So then we started thinking about islands, and we're like, you know what, we don't want it to be hurricane season. And with every island, even Mexico, like DR, PR, like, we do not go there in the summer because that's when hurricane season starts.
Yeah, the last time we booked Punta Cana, it was sometime in the summer, and 3 hurricanes hit, and it was like, we were like, yeah, we never want to do it again.
And that was...
We had to cancel it. We had to go through all those issues of canceling it. And we're just like, ever since we read on it how the summertime in New York is basically hurricane season in the Caribbean, we're like, you know what, we're
Yeah.
just not gonna do it.
And that was meant to be because that's the summer that we discovered Las Vegas. Actually.
Yeah, we never ever like we never
always
looked
went
back.
Yeah, we never looked back after Vegas. Like that was it.
Thank God. Like thank God we ended up in Vegas.
So after, you know, we started talking about Caribbean and like, do you want to go to an island? Do you want to go here? Do you want to go to like, do you want to go somewhere cold in the US? And you know, she was just like giving me ideas, but she didn't really say Hawaii. And she just said, I just want to go somewhere hot. I just want to tan. And you know, at the back of my mind, I wasn't telling her, but I'm like, you know what, like I would like to surprise her with a trip. Like, you know, I never get to surprise her. She always surprises me, so let me surprise her, make up for last year, celebrate 2 birthdays. She didn't get to celebrate last year. So I never really fully told her that we're going to Hawaii, but I was just like, okay, just be prepared. You don't know where we're going for your birthday. And she'd be like, oh, stop it, whatever. And I ended up surprising her with Hawaii. So basically, like, when I surprised her. Well, how far did I surprise you before the trip?
Must have been like 2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks. Because I started needing her help to help me with the car rentals.
And like also the itinerary.
Yeah, there was a lot to plan because, you know, we were there for like 8 days. So I needed to start telling her. So as you guys saw, I surprised her. And then I hit her with the brutal COVID test.
Yeah, it was the worst.
Yeah, it was the worst. So question number 3, what were our favorite activities? Everything? Can you like rank?
Not everything. I mean, Lanikai almost. Yeah, no, everything was our favorite. It's just that there were
Lanikai
some.
was my least.
Yeah, there were definitely some that like. Well, not some. It was only Lanikai. Lanikai killed us.
Yes.
Literally,
so it
like,
wasn't.
we're still scarred for life.
Like Lanikai, it's not that was our like. It was a horrible like memory for us. It's just the hike was horrible, but the views were spectacular.
Yeah, the first 15 minutes, you're like begging for your life and you're asking for mercy, and then the rest, most of the time, it was okay.
Like Jay said, we were begging for mercy, but the views were great, just the hike. So that was our least favorite hike out of everything that we did. It was just we were not prepared like for the actual hike. Like our feet, like our shoes, we took the wrong shoes. Our favorite was everything: the Dole Plantation, Lanikai Beach, Waimanalo Beach, Kualoa Ranch, Diamond Head.
If we had to rank it, I feel like Lanikai would be number 1 because that beach was just beautiful.
And my least favorite beach was Makua Beach. It was very high depth.
Yeah, it was high depth. It was like super dangerous. So everywhere we've parked so far has had this very comforting sign. So I was telling Babe that we should park next to this Jeep, because if they had to choose between our car and this car, they would find a whole bunch of goodies right here. Apparently these people did not care at all. So we'll be parking right here. But it was very lonely, which is good for like if you want to go take pictures.
I think it was magical, especially Dole Plantation, right?
Dole Plantation was awesome. It was so great. It was so cool. Like everything was kind of like a learning experience, so it was like so nice.
Again, and every activity we were just like, whoa, wow, oh my god, like we had nothing, like we were out of words.
Yeah.
Hawaii is beautiful, beautiful. Next question, how much did everything cost? I've always wanted to go, but I heard it's so expensive.
Yeah, Hawaii is definitely not a place where you want to book and
budget friendly.
I wouldn't say it's budget friendly at all. I mean, once we got there, it's like half the things we did were free, which is great, but getting there is gonna take like a piece out of your pocket. Like the car rental is not cheap, and like most people that go to Hawaii go to stay there 4 or 5 days. That's a $300 car per day. Like that was actually something that really took a chunk out of it. Also,
our
the
car rental for that little Kia ended up being cheaper than the Jeep, which we were actually grateful because gas was $4 and up a gallon.
Yeah.
So the car rental, we spent like $700 on the Kia.
Yeah.
So we were supposed to spend like at least $1,000 on the Jeep. So yeah,
so that was actually something that worked out in the end. We ended up being so grateful for that afterwards, because we're like, you know what, we got to like, instead of spending so much more on a luxury car, just being able to like spend more on what we want to actually do over there. Because once you're there, depending on what you do, you don't have to spend so much money once you're there. The issue is
the flight and the hotel.
What you pay to get there, that's really, I guess, what hits the pocket.
Like I wanted to surprise her. Like obviously I surprised her with the trip. Like I did it. I was a boss. I did it. But I wanted to resort on the beach, even though we were not gonna be on the beach, like we were not gonna be at the resort, but I wanted to be like on the beach. Like,
I mean, everybody that books Hawaii wants to have at least that balcony view.
Yes.
Or like everybody pictures it that way, where you just sit on the beach all day, or like the hotel's right above the beach. So it makes sense.
So I wanted to get the beach, and just the night was $1,400 per night, not including the resort fee, because there's still resort fees. So I was just like, we're not gonna be in the hotel. I decided to be a block and a half away from the actual beach, which is not bad. It's literally a minute walk to the beach. So,
and we actually had like a beautiful.
We were right in front of the International Marketplace, which is a popular mall right on Waikiki, right in the middle. We were in the middle of everything.
Yeah, we had a balcony facing all of that, and it was still just as beautiful. Like you could still see the sunset.
And you guys are going to actually be surprised. I'm actually gonna say this, which is crazy because it's so true. We spent more in Hawaii, like the travel package, than we did in Japan.
Oh, for sure.
Japan was way more cheaper in the hotel and flight aspect. So that should tell you something. We spent, at least in Hawaii, just for us two, what, like 3K?
Yeah.
3K. And we were trying to, without the car rental and without like, food and like shopping over there. So just keep that in mind.
Once we were there, like we only spent money on souvenirs and food and basically gas. Because other than that, like, we didn't have to spend on anything else. None of the hikes you have to pay for. You don't have to pay to get into the beach.
Besides Diamond Head, you have to pay for Diamond Head.
Yeah, Diamond Head you do have to pay for, but that's not really...
$5 per person.
Yeah, it's not really a big deal. But yeah, once you're there, it's not really like... Depending on what you do, of course. Like,
and I can't even tell you that we paid for parking
yeah, we didn't
outside.
even have to pay for parking. But
it's just all street parking. But the hotel was charging $50 a night for parking.
Yeah.
That's why we struggled so much looking for parking, because that is not worth it.
So depending on where you stay, if you don't want to have to, if you want to rent a car but you don't want to have to put so much money into it, make sure you get a budget-friendly car, like a compact car or something like that's not gonna eat up all the gas. And make sure you stay at a hotel where they do have street parking, because we got really lucky with the street parking.
And Hawaii,
I was willing to pay one of the nights if we didn't find parking, but luckily we found parking.
Yeah, we were so lucky. And honestly, Hawaii for parking, like everywhere we went, there was no parking, as you guys saw, besides Makapu'u Lighthouse Trail.
Yeah, they have a lot of restrictions on where you could park. Like if you're in New York, you could park, I guess, like maybe 6 or 7 feet
at least
from a hydrant.
there's meters here, you have an option.
Yeah.
Hawaii was the parking aspect, we did struggle.
Yeah, you can't park 30 feet from a stop sign. You can't park 30 feet from each side of a fire hydrant. Like, that's like insane. Those are things that I looked into before we went, because I wanted to see. I mean, usually, I guess since Hawaii is part of the U.S., like most of the rules should be the same. But once we read into that, like we realized it's not all the same. Like they do have their own restrictions on parking.
Yes. To sum up the question, just the flight and hotel together was at 3K. The car rental was like 700 something, and we basically spent like on food. It was like $300, like $200 in souvenirs.
Yeah, it depends on what you do too. I mean, if you want to be going to like, they do have fancy restaurants. They have like expensive restaurants.
Yeah.
And they also have regular like restaurants. So it's on you what you want to eat. You can definitely,
And we did not even consider Airbnbs, because Airbnbs were like $380 a night. Question: would you recommend Hawaii as a solo trip?
I would. You could do a lot by yourself.
And it's a very, very, very safe area.
It's so peaceful. Like,
very.
I would, honestly, it is good for a solo trip.
It's great for a solo trip. There's a lot of countries that, there's a lot of kidnapping and like, you
like
hear scary
Japan,
stuff.
you would want to be with someone. Not
You
because
have to be with somebody.
Not because it's not safe.
It's not dangerous, but that is like a 22-hour trip. You should have company. But Hawaii, even if it's 13 hours away from us, because we're in the East Coast or in the West, honestly, Hawaii is so peaceful. It's so zen. It's so like find yourself.
Yeah, like a spiritual journey.
Awakening.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I want to do in life. Like, we reflected so much in Hawaii.
Like,
very zen. It's
like
very zen.
Yeah.
So definitely a solo trip, girl. Book your trip. Save up. Plan ahead. Find yourself in Hawaii. Hawaii is amazing. Shit, I'm about to go back by myself.
I'll go back by myself. Maybe we both go together.
But we will.
Separate.
I'll miss you though.
Yeah, me too.
But yes, definitely recommend 100% solo trip for sure. before I had to rearrange some things with the airline that they messed up. The original flight was going to be 5 hours and 15 minutes to LAX, an hour layover, because no matter what, you have to have a layover since it's more than 6 hours.
Also, a lot of airlines don't fly directly to Hawaii. We found that out the hard way.
Yeah. And we were going to do another 5 hours and 15 LAX to Honolulu, but then that got canceled. So then we had to get a harder trip, and we did 2 hours and 30 minutes to Chicago, and then we had an hour and 47 layover, and then we did 9 hours and 25 minutes straight to Honolulu. So you could imagine these legs were swollen.
Yo, we were taking so much water on those flights.
Yeah, it was like ridiculous.
We arrived to New York, we had no ankles.
Yeah, I do realize our feet are always swollen. Obviously, when you fly, you know, your body's dehydrated and you're retaining water.
Yeah.
Like, our feet were swollen, but you know, since you get there, you do activities, like, it goes away right away. But when we get back home, you're jet lagged, you're tired, you're not doing any exercise, so it's way harder to lose all that water. Total of 13 and 37 minutes or 15 minutes. Everybody on Instagram always asks me, how do we do flights more than even 3-4 hours? That's why people just go to Miami.
Yeah, it's crazy because our first flight ever was 18 hours.
18 hours.
So it's like...
No, 21. We did 17 straight to Taiwan.
Yeah, well, that's what I meant. 17 straight to Taiwan, and then from there was like 6 or 7 hours.
Oh, 6 or 7 to Thailand.
To Thailand. So we never really gave ourselves a chance to like start gradually like
adapting
to it. We just hit it all at once, and maybe that's why we're okay with it. But honestly, I'm okay with being on a plane all day as long as I get to where we're going. Like,
because it's worth it. It's worth it.
Yeah, like
it's all mental.
Yeah, I don't really think about it. Like, we try not to think about it. I mean, this time, since it had been so long since we had flown, we were kind of nervous about it because
a whole year without traveling out of the country.
No, but also 2 years since we've flown for a long time on a plane.
The other long time was Japan.
Yeah, the last time was
China.
So it was a little, you know.
We were a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous. I kept telling Jay, I'm like, oh my god, I'm so nervous of the flight. But once you're on the flight, your nerves calm down.
It's really just the excitement of like, we're gonna get there. Like, oh my gosh, I can't wait.
Yeah, I think maybe we did answer this question in our other questions. Will you guys be returning to Hawaii?
I would love to.
Yes, we are. We are.
Maybe not so soon. Maybe like in 2 or 3 years.
When we explore other places, but we would definitely go back to Hawaii in a heartbeat, and we would go to Maui because there's a lot to do in Maui. We didn't get to do Maui because, as we said in our part 2,
yeah, the interstate.
I know.
Inter-island travel was not ideal during COVID.
Yeah. So maybe when things come, I'm sure things are gonna be good again in a year or 2 or so.
We better hope.
Yeah, we better hope. And you know, we'll definitely be going back to Hawaii. So any tips on traveling to Hawaii?
Okay, so tip number 1, I would say if you plan on renting a car, which we strongly lean towards that, keep in mind that gas is very expensive. We paid, I think, $4.12 a gallon when we were there. So
and the tank was not on E.
Be prepared to put that money in. Like, the car rental itself is not going to be the cheapest either. It is worth it to rent a car in Hawaii. Would you say
100%? 100%. Because if you do tours, that's basically wasting a whole day, because tours are 13 hours.
Yeah, tours,
9 to 13 hours, you know. And when you're at the place, at the excursion, it's literally just an hour. So when you go there on your, like, by yourself and like company, you can waste all the time you want. It's just getting there. And
also, you're not on their time. We used to do tours all the time because it's so much more convenient. They pick you up at the hotel, they drop you back off, but you're on their time the whole time. And it's not, to me at least, I don't feel like it gives you like the like spiritual and full, like, I get it, they give you like a lot of tips and they tell you a lot of information. I understand that, but it doesn't really give you the full in-depth thing as you going through, where you're going through each place on your own, like taking pictures on your own and like doing everything at your own time. When you're on a tour, you do everything by like in a rush.
Basically, what Jay is saying, you're on their time.
You're in the bus longer than you're at the actual place. So I wouldn't lean towards tours, because in Hawaii you can do a lot by yourself if you rent a car. And you can do everything by yourself.
Tip number 2, make sure to have cash on you.
Yeah.
Cash.
They do not take debit or credit. Most places do not take debit or credit.
Big restaurants and big like luxury designer stores will take your debit and credit,
If
but
that's what you're
so
going
many
to.
places, you know, to avoid the tax, I'm sure.
A lot of places also,
like
a lot of places also wouldn't offer change. Like they only accept exact like change from what you're getting.
We get it. COVID, passing by like a beach, you're passing by an excursion, there's a little food stand, there's a little like souvenir store.
Yeah, honestly, Hawaii is filled with little food trucks and like all those things that you're gonna want to try yourself. So they never take card.
Tip number 3, and we cannot say this loud enough. Like we were so happy. Like we always were prepared. Bring water shoes.
Yeah, water shoes.
Oh my God, the rocks in Hawaii. There's so many tide pools, so many like beaches, and like we were at Sandy Beach when our first, or Makapu Lighthouse trip, when we went to our first tide pool, and the rocks were so painful because I wanted a picture without my water shoes, and I regretted it so bad. Take water shoes because everything is you're basically always in water in Hawaii.
Even at the Spitting Cave, like it might look like it's nice flat rock, but everything is like kind of unstable when you get there.
Besides water shoes, take great hiking shoes.
Yeah, if you're planning on hiking. Yeah.
Yes, we regretted not taking like pointy, those hikey boots that we saw
that have like cleats, cleats at the bottom.
Yes, like soccer cleats.
Yeah,
basically good hiking shoes. Like forget about your cute shoes like us. Don't do what we did. Take great hiking shoes, take water shoes, take lots of flip-flops when you're going to the pool, because we're basically in Hawaii, you're basically in water. Take a gallon of sunscreen. Like take sunscreen. We cannot say that enough.
That sun over there was way
the UV rays are different out there. We were so black, we were so burnt, like, and luckily once we got there we got sunscreen, but their ingredients are different because as we said in our
reef safe, we don't know if the reef safe ones are the reason why
we got so burnt. But luckily I had brought one back from home, but it wasn't enough. That's why we decided to buy over there. So we cannot say this enough. Sunscreen. Like we got so burnt. We got a great color with sunscreen. So just take care of your skin. Sunscreen, that's it.
Yeah, sunscreen is super important. Like just as an example, like she still has her sleeves, like her sleeve tan from when we were there, and that was on a cloudy day.
Still see.
That was on a cloudy day. It was not sunny.
New York makes me white, so I'm white again.
But
I still have kind of a sleeve, but it was really embarrassing.
And we could not believe that happened on a cloudy day. That was crazy.
Cloudy. So sunscreen no matter what. So tip number 4.
Location. So if you're planning on booking it straight to Waikiki and you're also planning on renting a car, the smart thing and the best budget friendly thing to do is make sure that you're getting a hotel somewhere close to public parking where you don't have to pay. Unless you're willing to pay the hotel fee for the valet, that's perfectly fine, but you're gonna be set. Yeah, that'd be great because obviously the car is right downstairs, but just make sure you brace yourself because it's going to be at least $50 to $60 per night. Make sure you're near a location where there is public transportation, because public transportation is great in Hawaii. There's a lot of it. We don't know if
it takes you everywhere.
It takes you everywhere, but they did have a lot of public transportation.
And just if you're going to take the bus, you are going to take way longer heading to your destination. So maybe in a car it'll be 30-40 minutes, and in a bus it'll be 2 hours. So just make sure to literally plan everything ahead. And tip number 5, a lot of my friends on Instagram are asking me, oh, when you plan a trip, where do you know where to go? So basically it's about research. So I'm just gonna make your life easier. Make sure if you want to be in the middle of everything, go to Waikiki.
Yeah, Waikiki is literally the center of everything. They have shops, they have malls, they have the beach, they have everything.
It's the heart of Honolulu.
Yeah, the beach is not the best.
For Waikiki, as you guys saw.
Yeah, it's not the best, but I mean, if you're willing to settle for just like, I just want sand and I want water and, I want to be close to the beach, Waikiki is incredible.
And there's a lot of people that like packed beaches, like to be around a lot of people. We don't. We like to be like secluded so we can get good shots, and it's more zen to us. But if you are that person that loves to be around people and be in a busy area, Waikiki is great. We love the whole strip. We walked every single day back and forth. We couldn't get enough of Hawaii, but Waikiki Beach was very, very busy and not COVID friendly because
there was a lot of homeless people.
Yeah, and it's not COVID friendly because nobody was really, socially distancing.
Yeah, it was basically just everybody's on the beach next to each other. There's no such thing as like I'm gonna have my blanket and there's gonna be someone like 5 feet away from me.
Everybody was
everybody was right next to each other. And what we noticed was that other beaches, like people that put music would kind of put it just loud enough for them to hear it. Waikiki Beach is like everybody has a boombox and everybody
was listening to Bob Marley.
Yeah, but everybody was listening to everything on top of each other, so it wasn't really like everybody cares about each other's space.
Yeah,
it wasn't like that at all.
Yeah. And number 6,
the most important thing to us, I would say, that we always do is the itinerary. The itinerary is what saves you time. It's what saves you like
mental stress
from like everything. If you plan, I know planning an itinerary is kind of a lot of work before you get there, but it saves you so much time. Like just in case this place ends
backup plans.
Yeah, like just in case we end up taking only 2 hours at this place, we could still fit this into the day. Or when you're planning the itinerary, at least when we do it, we're always making sure dates and times and like what time this place opens, what days this place is closed, because the last thing you want to do is get like plan a tour for one of the days and for that day for things to have been closed. A lot of things in Hawaii, at least right now, are closed, let's say Monday and Tuesday or Wednesday and Thursday.
Like we explained in the end of part 2, a lot of things they wanted to do were closed Monday and Tuesday, so that's why we moved it to the other days. So just plan itinerary.
Itineraries are your number one thing. Like we have like a whole formula.
We ran out of memory space. So basically,
look at
the difference. So what were you saying, Jay?
So itineraries are number 1 and they never fail. So I would always say the number 1 tip is plan a full itinerary.
Yes, unless you're just going on vacation and you're just gonna be on the beach, then we're talking differently. But we are that couple that when we travel, we want to explore everything. We want to take everything that we can. Like we want to
squeeze out as much as we can from that place.
Yes, we want to go everywhere, and we also did relax a lot, but we love to be prepared. We love to manage. We don't want to have like, oh damn, we couldn't do that because we didn't have time. We want to squeeze everything in. So time is very, very important. We are so glad we got to do everything that we wanted to do, and we actually squeezed in Diamond Head because, as you guys can tell, we managed the time like wisely. Even if we had to struggle with parking, we made it work.
Also, we left the hotel every single day at like 5 in the morning.
Yeah,
so we kind of cheated, I guess.
The jet lag was so hard that I was waking up 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning in Hawaii, which is 9, 10. That was 9, 10 in the morning in New York. So we got ready and we had like 15 hours ready ahead of us. And that's why time in Hawaii went by so slow, because we were up 3, 4 in the morning. We hope you guys enjoyed this Q&A of Hawaii. We hope we answered everybody's question. And you have anything else left to say?
We hope we answered everything.
Yeah, basically we talk a lot, and we could talk about Hawaii all day long. We literally loved Hawaii. It was a great trip. So we will see you guys in the next video, but right before we go, don't forget to hit that what button?
Like button.
The subscribe button, hit that notification bell to get notified every time we post a new video, and we will see you guys on the next trip. On the vlog. Ooh. Peace.